Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and in this episode, I want to talk about the idea of receiving feedback. Because it's ultra important as a creative to receive feedback, right? Because it elevates your work. And I was listening to Brian Koppelman, and that's what kind of inspired this episode. Brian Koppelman, by the way, is a writer on the TV series Billions, among other things. But recently that's his latest project. And he really, I always knew the importance of feedback and things like that, but he helped kind of solidify the things that I was doing in my life already as far as feedback. And so I wanted to essentially share what he shared, but through my own perspective and how I've applied them in my life. So, number one, too many people, I think, ask for feedback when they don't actually want feedback. If you're asking your peers for feedback, you should understand for the most part, you're asking them because you want to elevate the project. Now, you should never ask for feedback once a project is done because you're not really looking for feedback. You should kind of pose it as like, hey, I completed my novel, I completed this painting, I completed this song, would love for you to take a listen and enjoy, right? So you kind of frame it like it's done, you don't want any notes, right? Because sometimes people, if you frame it in the wrong way, they're going to offer up notes or criticism, and obviously at that point, if you're done, right? So there's nothing you can do about it. But if you are looking for advice, make sure it's from people that you trust and that you're willing to accept that criticism. You can't put it out there and all of a sudden be upset when people give you something, right? That's why they're doing it. And, oftentimes there's certainly been moments in my life where for example, my friend Ian Kaiser, one of the reasons I love him is because he provides such a unique perspective on various projects. Now, I can honestly say that at first when I hear them, they're just so left field that honestly, I'm like, what? How could you, they're just so shocking. But and it's interesting to me because I always know to expect such a viewpoint, hence why I go to him. And, admittedly, it does take me a moment to kind of get to calm down and see his point of view. He's an extreme case of someone that whoa, but he is very beneficial. And I would have never asked him for his opinion if I didn't actually want to listen to it. And that doesn't mean you take everything that is given to you. Sometimes if someone gives you a suggestion, you might have already tried it, but you still say oh, thank you for that. And in fact, you can kind of go that way with them. Don't just shoo their idea of oh no, we already tried it. In fact, say oh, that's really interesting. We actually, did think of that already. Here's why it didn't work for us. Do you have a suggestion, right? But, ultimately, part of the thing is the people you ask advice from, even if they're your peers, they're giving up their time to help you, right? And so if you don't actually want their advice, you're just wasting their time. So don't do that, point blank. And the other thing of it is it should never be one-sided. In life, not that friendships, there's a scoreboard of things, but whenever I ask people for advice and things like that, and they're gracious enough to give it to me, I always know in my heart of hearts, I want to do something nice for this person, and repay it in some whatever way it may be. And it might be in 6 months, it might be in a year, but generally, I always keep it in the back of my mind, the people that are always generous in providing the feedback that they provide, and I try to reciprocate as best as I can. While this might seem obvious, again, from my own experience, I've seen a lot of people not be willing to take advice, even though they sort of ask for it. They are looking for affirmations rather than true ways to elevate the work. And I don't think that's fair to anyone or the project itself, quite frankly. So, get out of that mindset and really accept the suggestions that peers or whoever offers you, because at the end of the day, it'll make your project better. Anyway, that's what I have for you. If you have any thoughts or questions of your own, By all means, comment down below or hit me up on social media. Would love to converse with you further. If you feel like this would benefit somebody else, by all means, pass it on to them. And hopefully, I'll see you next time with another episode.